Welcome back to the second segment of the power rankings for our players going into 2024. Today, we're going to touch on the midfielders, and moving forward, once we get into the season, we will do power rankings at the end of each month for each sector of the field. That is defense, midfield, forward, and I've thrown in the rucks with the forwards as well for convenience sake. So let's get into this. Let's go with the mids. We'll start with rankings 13, 12, and 11. We have Finlay McRae at number 13, who's going to be coming from a long way back, tried to entertain interest from other clubs in the offseason, having his contract, which ends at the end of next year. So did shop around to no avail, so he will remain at Collingwood. This is going to take a wealth of mental fortitude when you're hoping to move elsewhere and maybe a little bit checked out from the club and the ambitions there and just want a fresh start. So that's going to be difficult within itself. But then when we look at all the players we brought in, Houston Perryman, who can also roll through the midfield, younger players looking to step up, it's going to be difficult. But that's why I have him at the moment as our 13th ranked midfielder. At number 12, we've got Lachie Sullivan, who showed good signs early in his tenure at Collingwood last year, particularly when we were all quite injury-riddled at the club. Yeah, I just have him as the 12th best player. The question is, can he get better than where he's at the moment? Age 26, going 27, proven at VFL level, plays okay at AFL level, will probably need to be a viable option going forward as a mid forward to ensure that he gets as much opportunity as possible at AFL level. At number 11, we've got Ned Long, another interesting player who was previously AFL listed by Hawthorn, then got delisted, came to Collingwood's VFL side, and then was picked up in the mid-season draft. And we had some success with him throughout the year. Played really well against Brisbane before being rested or dropped for the Melbourne game to finish the year. And I think that was just to accommodate for Ed Allen playing in the midfield. But still reasonably young, so he's in that age bracket that we like to see these players. And I think he's got some potential. He's bullish, a decent runner. It's just can he improve his ball use, or is his physical presence, his defensive ability going to be enough? That's the question. So we'll see where that goes as the season commences. Moving on to our next five. At number 10, we've got Harvey Harrison, who is a winger. So I've included the wingers into the midfielders, as you can see. Harvey Harrison, number 10, pushes him. He's been pushed back because of the injury due to his ACL. Maybe I have him above Lipinski if he's not injured, but that's where he is at the moment. Young, budding potential, played really well, kicked 3 goals twice last year. Really clean below his knees and has some really good defensive running patterns as that winger. Really comes back into defense and helps out there. So that's what I liked about Harvey Harrison's game. He's not necessarily an accumulator like other wingers, but does a lot of the little things right, which is what you want to see from these types of players early in their career. Number 9, we've got Lipinski, who was thrown everywhere this year. I felt like he played high half forward, he played on a wing, played midfield very sporadically, very sparingly, but nonetheless, he did play midfield at certain points throughout the year. I think his best position is on the wing. He does a lot of dog running when he plays as the high half forward. I recall, was it the Brisbane or Sydney game where he had recorded the sixth most kilometers since the AFL had tracked how many kilometers you've run in a game, 6 or something like that, 6th highest. Where does his career lie moving forward? Is he just going to be this role player, or can he be that player who in the first half of the season was probably top 5 Copeland Trophy worthy? That's where I saw him at that point. Number 8, Ed Allen. Didn't want to have him too high. I couldn't put him above anybody else that is ahead of him, just because, and you'll see why. But yeah, Ed Allen's just potential. Yeah, potential. Played well in the games that he played. We didn't play very well against Fremantle. Played very well against Melbourne. Was one of our best players. It's just a matter of, okay, well, can you take that confidence into this pre-season and then relay that into the 2025 season, which we're all hopeful we can do to give our midfield a chop out. Because when you look at the rest of the list, the midfield rankings, you can see these players are getting on, and maybe want to deploy these players elsewhere at some point. So we go to the final five. Jack Crisp at number 5. I think he's one of our most important midfielders, despite playing less and less midfield time as the boys came back later in the year. The boys is in Pendlebury, DeGoey, and the likes. I didn't mention Tom Mitchell or Side Bottom. So let's just go back here for a second. So, sorry, Side Bottom, still important. Played his best footy when he was on ball this year. And there was not many games where he was on ball, but I remember North Melbourne. I remember times against Sydney, times against Brisbane. He's just so versatile, and the fact that he finished top 5 Copeland Trophy says enough about him. Tom Mitchell is, the ultimate question is, can he get back on the field and healthy? We know he plays with a chip on his shoulder and always wants to prove that he is worthy, and I love that. And that's why I think he's still a crucial part of the makeup in our midfield with his contested work as well. So that wraps up 7 and 6. We talked about Chris briefly, but yeah, the fact that he got pushed out to the forward line / wing late in the season, I don't know how much midfield time he's going to play next year. Does he sacrifice his role a little bit more for players like Allen and Sidebottom to play through the midfield a bit more? Maybe even Lipinski. These are the questions that need answering. Josh Dacos, number 4, will play wing, I think. I don't think he will be deployed on the half-back line anymore, given our acquisitions in Perryman and Houston. I would love to see him in the midfield. Imagine like Josh Dacos, Nick Dacos, DeGoey, Pendlebury, Crisp, all rotating through with Mitchell and Allen. That would be my ideal rotations at the moment. Yeah, lots of potential there with Josh Dacos. You know what? When was he drafted? 2016. Let's see, 2016. I think it was the end of 2016. Yeah, pick 57 at the end of 2016. So despite being nearly 24, 25, I feel like he's still got another level to go. So that's really exciting from my perspective. And I still couldn't put Pendlebury. I couldn't get him out of the starting midfield. I really couldn't. So he's at number 3. Will we see him play along the half-back line at some point? Maybe. But as long as he's playing the way he plays, then I can't see him playing anywhere else. Number 2, DeGoey. This one has a bit of an asterisk because I would like to see DeGoey play more and more forward and then save him for the final series. So say 50-50 throughout the year and then say 70-30, 80-20 come the final series. You could argue that's going to be difficult when you're asking for someone to go from 50-50 to 80-20. I understand that. So maybe there's a way we can stagger it. And by the time we get to the final series, he is ready to take on the loads and the conditioning demands in the midfield. So he's in Doha at the moment. He'll return when he's supposed to return for preseason, but he's being proactive and looking to do prevention rather than intervention at Doha, learning some techniques, I imagine, running techniques, how to ensure that the way you're expressing your energy output throughout your hips and your groins and your ankles and knees. I imagine that's what he's trying to learn there because he's such a powerful body. He's probably needing to learn how to use it the most efficient way possible, because sometimes being so powerful can be a detriment to you because you just don't know how to. You might be able to output this power, but you might not know how to do it efficiently and know how to save your body. So I try my best to explain that, but for lack of better terms and words there. And number 1, Nick Dacos. Do I need to say anything more? He's still the man. He was the hit 2 guy, this number 2 hit 2 guy in the league. So from ruck contest, he was the go-to guy. I think Nick Dacos is best placed as the guy who receives the handball from the hit 2 guy. But because of the injuries we had throughout the year, he became that hit 2 guy. So maybe this year, can we see a balance of sometimes Nick Dacos becomes the hit 2 guy, but sometimes he is also the handball receive guy. I think when he played off the half-back flank, which is naturally you will get a lot more handball receives, in 2023, he was right up there for handball receives and still was that in 2024. So just looking for that balance now. and looking for that kicking efficiency that comes with being the guy who gets the ball received out of the contest rather than the one receiving the ball in the contest. So those are our 13 midfielders that we have amongst our rankings. Did I miss anyone? Is there someone you'd like in there? And do you agree with the overall order? Go Pies.